Here's a message for the billionaire in the Winfield House in London. How much more evidence do you need? Listen to your brother, who's been eyewitness to the beginnings of this transformation. Listen to the players, who have displayed the same resilience and character embodied by their leader. Listen to common sense. After there was no way in hell that these Jets would compete for anything but historical ineptitude this season. It's time, Woody Johnson. It's time for the Jets to truly commit to Todd Bowles after it's become abundantly clear that he's the right coach to lead the Jets into the next phase of this methodical rebuild that began in earnest a year ago. Gangrene's wildly entertaining 3,831 win against the Chiefs on Sunday was the latest proof that Bowles deserves a commitment from the organization beyond next season. The player testimonials after the Jets matched their win total from last season were powerful. Leonard Williams: I love Todd. He was the first person I ran up to and celebrated with after the game. I was so happy for him. I was so happy for the team. He's a great coach. I love to play for him. I'm glad he's been able to impose his mindset onto the team. Josh McCown: his message never changed. He never wavered. He never complained. That was huge for us. That kind of steadiness for us is bearing fruit right now. It's why we won the game today, because of how he handles himself and carries himself day in and day out. Andrew Savulich, New York Daily News: Demario Davis: he's a great leader for us. Here's a little secret for the ill-informed mob ready to run Bowles out of town after last season: he's always been a great leader. Woody and Christopher Johnson made it clear that Bowles' future wouldn't be tied to wins and losses, so I suppose it's an unintended benefit that the Jets 57 are still lingering in the playoff conversation with 4 games left. About 6 months ago, Bowles had every reason to fold up his tent and quietly walk to the unemployment line amid a roster turnover that left little doubt that the Jets were stripping it down to the studs in order to build a proper foundation. He lost some veterans, who were washed up, and some that he wanted to keep around. He's always been a company man, even when that meant absorbing body blows that left him to figure out creative ways to make chicken salad out of his current ingredients. He did it quietly. He did it without complaining to folks willing and eager to record his discontent. I love him, said McCown, who 26 for 36 for 331 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing and a 109.8 passer rating. I'll tell that to anybody that asks me. For as much as you see the roster turnover and how young we were, you need a steady guy. It's easy for young guys to lose heart. He's what we needed. That's what's kept us competitive. Bill Kistrunap: full disclosure, Bowles is one boring interview. Even he, when proclaimed it's big to win one after his team rallied from an early 2-count deficit, his voice barely rose above a whisper. He didn't smile or gloat. Even his good quotes were boring. It'll be a process, Bowles said. We're still growing up and we'll be growing up again next week. But for them to not flinch and come back from 14 down early and fight to the end is a credit to them. It's a credit to him too. Bowles has handled the crucible of this mountain out of a molehill universe with aplomb. A lesser man would have gone clinically insane. Considering this market and how demanding it is, I think you need somebody that's steady, McCown said. There's going to be ups and downs with this job, so you have to have somebody that won't blink. That's what Todd's been for us. He's been hard, but fair. If you screw up, you'll suffer the consequences, like linebacker Darren Lee, who was inactive Sunday after being late for a walk-through practice on Saturday. Even self-proclaimed team leaders aren't immune to discipline. Just ask Mohammed Wilkerson, who was disciplined for a game for the 3rd consecutive season due to his inability to comply with team rules. Wilkerson was benched for much of the first quarter after being late for a team meeting. We have rules, Bowles said. We make rules. We have coaches' decisions. We make them and we move on. Bill Kistrunap: translation: we have too many players and coaches who have bought into this culture shift to be derailed by a couple knuckleheads. The Johnson brothers wanted to use this season to evaluate the direction of their organization. It's evident now that Bowles can inspire this franchise. What will change between now and the end of the regular season? Will the players magically quit on a man at the heart of everything they believe in? Will the young players, who have made strides, suddenly disappear? Will the locker room inexplicably fracture over the next 4 weeks? Of course not. It's time, Mr. Ambassador.